is MorningLine.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on MorningLine, and Nick Barris here on a Monday. Hope you had a very pleasant Easter. I hope you had a great weekend. Gosh, you can't beat this gorgeous weather. So nice out, and it's good to be back at work. But I'll tell you this, one thing about spending all day outside yesterday is that my allergies kicked in again. Of course, this is the time for allergies and dealing with it and finding what works and what doesn't work. And we're going to get into some of that today, but we're taking it from a little bit different angle than we've done in the past, where we're going to be looking at alternative treatments to allergies. You know, there are things out there that maybe you don't necessarily have to have a prescription for, or that are some of the more typical over-the-counter medicines that we all buy and use, and different types. And the thing is, so many of those pills, many of which work and do great depending on who you are, but all of them have side effects or things that maybe sometimes counterbalance whatever the positive is that comes with it. So we're going to get into that, and if you're suffering from some yourself, give us a call and feel free to share with the idea of alternative treatments to allergies. And our guest with us this morning to talk about it is Dr. J.David Forbes. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Nick.
Nice to have you on. It's interesting. I mean, we're going to talk alternative treatment to allergies, but we were talking about how you specialize, and you're one of the founding diplomats, you said, of the, what is it, the
American
Board of Integrated Holistic Medicine. And that's the large umbrella under which I'm guessing there are alternative treatments to allergies are, addressed.
Certainly.
Explain to folks. Okay, first of all, you are a medical doctor.
Correct.
All right. But what is integrated holistic medicine?
It's a good question because there's lots of different thoughts about what those words mean.
Okay.
In general, what we mean by it is integrative is usually meant to refer to using tools from lots of different sources.
Sure.
So we use standard mainstream medicine, and we also use appropriate safe tools from other types of disciplines, whether that's from herbal, supplemental, Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic, lots of different systems that all contribute wonderful information to how we care for our health and healing.
Yeah.
Holistic really refers to a lens through which you look at things, meaning things as all connected rather than in little compartments. We've had a tendency throughout our last 100 years of wonderful developments in Western medicine. One of the side effects has been everything getting lost in little compartments.
Sure.
We have all of our allergies of different pieces of the body, and holistic medicine looks through the lens of not only are all those pieces connected, but how is it connected to our mental, emotional, spiritual components of self, and how does that all play together?
How does it, okay, and that's great. And I think, this is something that's been around a long time, obviously, and we continue to learn more. And while you were pursuing your degree and becoming a medical doctor, you always hear that sometimes there are those within the more conventional medical community, some of whom, like yourself, accept the more holistic approach, integrated. Others just, and you hear in sometimes medical schools, and maybe this is changing, aren't as quick to embrace some of these other, approaches. How did it work for you? Were you ostracized by your colleagues?
Well, I guess with that was many years ago. So things have changed dramatically since the time I was in school.
More accepted now. Because there was a time, these top medical schools, they didn't pay attention to this stuff at all.
When I was in the school in the late 80s, this was not, we had these conversations, but we had a little group that we talked on the side, and that was about all you said.
Right. That's changed.
That's changed dramatically, and now we have a consortium in this country of academic centers that all have some type of integrative training program. That's now up over 50, including Vanderbilt, including Yale, Stanford, all of the large-scale universities have integrative programs. That wasn't even something you would even have dreamed of 25 years ago. So
things have
changed.
I think it's a positive thing looking at the big picture. Well, listen, we're going to get into the allergy aspect now and what you do. And, we have a story that you did with Shannon Royster, I think it was last week, kind of looking, because this is allergy season. In case you missed that, we want to play that. Then we're going to get back and we'll open up the phone lines. You see the numbers up there. We can take some of your calls about allergies, some of the treatments you take or not, and continue our discussion. But first, let's take a look at this piece that we did on allergies. Oh, you know what? It's not hitting at the moment. As soon as Mary gets that queued up, she'll let us know. But, there are so many different aspects outside of conventional medicine. I'm a beekeeper. I don't know if Mary Elena told you that.
Oh, I think she did.
But I keep bees, and I do it just because I think it's great to have bees, and they're kind of like my pets. I don't pet them or anything, but they're out there pollinating stuff. But is that something that would fall under the holistic integrative medicine when people talk about eating local honey to maybe help protect them against allergies?
It is certainly one of the things that has had some good effect.
What do you think? Because my beehives are in my backyard. It's right in the heart of where I'm exposed to all this pollen, and I eat it year round, sweeten my tea with it, coffee, things like that.
Right.
I will not go out and say it's cured my allergies by any means. I do believe it's lessened the severity of it. That would be my guess.
And that follows along with what the theory of its mechanism is, and it's always made pretty good sense. It's not unlike what we do in any kind of immunology therapy.
Yeah, where you expose yourself, right?
It's basically about exposure. It's also interesting to pair that up with the data that we have now that's beginning to re-examine what happens in those first 3 to 5 years of life, in colloquial terms, in terms of just basic dirt exposure. The theory is re-emerging. We need a lot more dirt.
Yeah.
We live in sterile boxes full of things that cleanse our lives from the dirt, and our history as a species is, as kids, we pretty much are out playing in the dirt all the time and get all that stuff in the mouth and down in the GI tract, and that seeds the body with a healthy level of exposure, and it learns friend and foe, and it learns how to manage that. When it's deprived of that training early on, it makes an enormous difference in how the system develops, and the immune system ends up in weird reactive modes for a lot of things. So the honey issue is theoretically a way that we are beginning to re-inoculate the body with those same types of environmental stuffs that we would normally be exposed to.
I want to hit more on that point you just talked about, and we'll get into that. But I think we do have that piece up there. So let's look at that, and then we'll get going with our phone calls and get into more details on how to just help you stop that scratchy, watery eye and the cough. And Amy Watson over there anchoring this morning is talking about this morning. Her throat's just killing her and what she can do for it. But let's take a look at this piece on alternatives to allergy treatments.
Ray is a longtime allergy sufferer.
The stuffy nose makes your head hurt. You don't get enough air in and stuff like that.
And because he's allergic to most allergy medications, he generally stays indoors.
Every spring, flowers are all pretty and stuff, but you know that they're going to tear you up.
Dr. David Forbes, owner of Nashville Integrated Medicine, says he's the perfect candidate for alternative methods.
First and foremost, I'm going to talk to my patients about their diet, because believe it or not, getting your symptoms in allergy season from a 10 down to a 2 is hugely dietarily dependent.
So in order to stop the sneezing, you might want to cut back on the refined sugars, grains, and dairy. You can also turn to herbal methods.
Quercetin is one, butterbur is another.
Another alternative to traditional over-the-counter allergy medicine might just surprise you. It has to do with local bees, and people who use this method buy it by the dozens.
A lot of my customers wait in line and stock up. They buy quarts from me.
Linda Coral, owner of Linda's Rose Garden Honey, sells honey at the hip Donaldson Farmers Market.
Honey is evidently a great deterrent to allergies.
Some experts believe because bees take pollen and nectar from local flowers, when you eat the raw honey, it's believed to desensitize your body, just like an allergy shot.
Some customers take it with vinegar, a teaspoon of vinegar and a tablespoon of honey, and they say it really helps their allergies.
It's something Ray is anxious to try.
Throwing a little bit in my coffee in the morning and stuff like that, anything to let a little bit off of it.
Shannon Royster, News Channel 5 HD.
Are there bees? I was looking at them and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what it looks like in my backyard. So, yeah, but just going out and buying some of that honey or you reminded me during the story that, we go get allergy shots. It's not like one shot and boom, you're inoculated against allergies. Same thing. It's not like you buying that honey and eating it from even 1 year is necessarily going to be enough to do it.
Going to be enough.
So what does it take? We always want something immediate, and I guess some of the over-the-counter ones that deal with the symptoms provide immediacy. But what's the best way to get it going long term?
Start anytime.
Yeah.
Definitely start long before allergy season.
Yeah.
And that applies to most alternative herbal supplemental oriented type things.
Yeah.
Again, like you mentioned, we're used to fast, quick, everything in a drive-through kind of a mode, and popping a pill and having an effect right away, and that works great for mainstream types of pharmaceuticals. But in the other kind of more natural world, there's a much slower ramp up.
Yeah.
So like with allergy shots with honey, you probably want this to be looked at as a multi-year process that slowly
and maybe
brings
that's
that
how it's
system
working for
more
me.
into
I
it.
wanted it fast, and now I've probably been eating my local honey. Now I've been probably a beekeeper for 5-6 years or something like that, and it gets better every year to some degree. But listen, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll open up the phone line, 737-7587. What do you do to deal with your allergies if it's something that's an alternative? If it's not, how do you like the over-the-counter prescription ones you take? Because I can tell you this, I was on one once that I had a horrible reaction to the prescription pill, and I was done with it. That got me to stop using pills and taking pills and medicines of all type. It freaked me out so much, the reaction I had. If there's an alternative that's holistic, why the heck would you not use it? We'll take a break, be back with your calls and more of our conversation with our guest right after this.